Welcome back to the LPL Summer Playoffs. We're coming back in for Game 3, now evened up 1-2-1. RNG come back with their A squad and took some names in that fight. I'm specifically looking towards Uzi. Everyone already knows he's just the best player in the world right now. No one's getting past him, but we're looking to the other side. Rogue Warriors, what else have you got left in the bank? Because we saw what they can pull out in Game 1. The classic Rogue Warriors, you know, on the Revenge Tour. It's what we saw every single game. Coming into Game number 2, they've got a blast of the pot. But now, bringing in Holder and Kiwi into the jungle, this is a squad that we only saw at the very end of the season, back when everything was essentially already confirmed for Rogue Warriors. And I don't know if you can draw the same comparison between this and like BLG when he had Mole and Chieftain. It's definitely a different flavor. And yes, Holder brings a lot to the team, but you're also giving up flaws for this privilege.
Yeah, big thing to remember is that Holder is a Korean import, so you can't play 3 Koreans on the team at the same time. They are going to have to play the more inexperienced Kiwi against Karsa. That's a big risk, but the big upside they're running is that he can take it to Let Me in the side lanes. They're going on red side this time around, and I fully expect Holder to get one of his counter picks. He was absolutely monstrous on the Akali play, finished the game with a triple kill and a quadra kill. So this is one of the few and only assassin top laners that you're actually going to see in the LPL.
Yeah, that's the key thing there. He is a true assassin top laner, a true carry top laner. We don't have many of them really in the league. We have people who play carries, but don't play like this. Quadra coming in for Holder on this Akali play. And he also plays the Aurelia top.
Yeah, and this was probably the best Aurelia play that we've seen.
Oh, it is. Just straight up, I'll say it now.
This is a level 5 1v4 where he gets a level 6 mid-fight and then cleans up the entire ordeal. So if you're looking for someone to get into the backlines, get onto Uzi and really pressure him, I think Holder's the man to do the job.
Yeah, in fact, I don't think we've seen any good Aurelia top laners in the first place, because we always see them played into tanks. He was played into a tank in that game, into a Cho'Gath. He managed to escape. He actually finds access into a side lane, which we never see. Everyone just stays in the top lane. It's like, well, I'm just going to farm it. I died. And that's like just what happens in top lane. But Holder has such good cognizance of what he needs to do at all stages in the game. And again, this guy comes in at the very end of the split, and the team is saying, now, right here against RNG, we need you to step up. I mean, what a thing to say here in the home court in Beijing against RNG. Holder, I know you're a newbie, but get in there and get us a win.
Rogue Warriors' read is very similar to us. They need to match RNG in terms of the side lanes and split pushing. If they lose on that front, it's very hard for them to then find their freight train type of team fights. So they're going on the red side, getting the counter pick onto Holder, and really, what is Let Me going to blind pick here is going to become the big question.
Yeah, for sure. We know that Let Me is picking up more of the carries himself in the top side. He's picked up the Akali that we saw very recently, a little bit in the LPL, but mainly also in Asian games. So he still has the potential in the top side, or maybe he'll just go tank. We'll see. But that's another threat now on Rogue Warriors you've got to look towards. You know, Mouse, you can bet your bottom dollar he's probably going to pick Mundo, or something like Mundo. This time, we don't really know what's going to come out of Holder. It's going to be probably a carry of some sort, unlikely to be a tank. Otherwise, you just keep Mouse in. So we know it's going to be another threat that we'll have to be thinking about.
This guy basically doesn't play tanks. When he was playing in the Korean Challenger scene, he was known for his gameplay. He showed it up in the LPL as well, 73% win rate in his own home region.
There he is, the man himself, Holder, into the top lane. He's going to be alongside Kiwi, though, and Kiwi definitely going to have a hard time against a grizzled veteran that is Karsa, or even MLXG if he comes in later in this set.
What we've seen from Kiwi is that he's very good when he's taking the first step and doing individual ganks. He likes to gank mid lane especially, but where his flaws really lies is that he will not save or salvage losing lanes. He doesn't do that very well, and what we've seen when Kiwi is playing is that when SMLZ does something wrong in the bot lane, that lane just completely implodes. There's no coming back from that. And I think that does play into RNG's playstyle a little bit. RNG are much more focused on the bot lane to begin with. So Rogue Warriors' task right here is to give Holder the lead, but also keep their bot lane steady at the same time.
Yep, stay ahead from the start. That last game, I feel like we're not going to see another early game like that again for the rest of the set. You're not going to have Let Me just walking up river, just going for a stroll, getting caught out. That's an easy first blood going of the team. That's not going to happen, so you're going to have to find another way to get an early game pick. And I don't think Karsa is going to just be sitting on his laurel, sitting in the jungle. He's going to be also tracking Kiwi at the same time.
Yep.
So it's just so many tasks to be completed in the early game. That being said, look at SMLZ, cool as a cucumber. He's always cool in the bottom lane.
We call him Smiles sarcastically because he never does.
Nope. Uzi does, though. Uzi smiles a lot, especially when he has a game like that on his Vayne, his signature pick. I wonder if he'll go back to it in this game.
I don't really think so, but it's pretty good to see the growth coming out from Uzi. Usually in playoffs in the previous years, he was always very nervous, I would say. You don't see a lot of laughter out him. It was all business face. But this year, after winning so many champions, you can see the maturity come out of him. He's taking things in stride. He knows that if he plays steady, he's confident in his team's ability and their coaching staff.
I mean, honestly, when it feels like you're cursed for so long, you just feel like maybe I just can never do it, you know? Maybe I'm just doomed to always fail. But if you've already overcome those demons a long time ago, like we're coming into the end of summer right now, and that was already done, complete, out of the window by the end of spring, right? So like from there, Uzi will just keep on winning. There's nothing to keep his mentality back anymore. So he'll be happy going into these games, especially if he comes out with a game like that in his first game in the set. I don't think anyone's going to upset the momentum outside of the rest of the team around him, you know? Like, I think that if you're going to strike anywhere in this game, it's not going to be bot lane in the laning phase. It's probably going to be in top side.
Yeah, definitely. Uzi has to feel very high about his first Vayne win in the summer split so far, in a must-win game down to the wire with Rogue Warriors.
And frankly, I just want to see Holder like just pick up a massive carry, something that has access into the backline and specifically target out Uzi. If you're looking for a special weapon, a secret weapon, it's going to be that.
I think Akali is much more potent for Rogue Warriors than it is for RNG. And like I said right here, RNG on the blue side have to take it away because Holder is great on that champion and it gives so much threat to Uzi. You can't really team fight in an area where someone has already dropped the Twilight Shroud.
Yeah, it's so important. I like that it's been removed off the table. Alistair as well could be signaling maybe an early Rakan coming out from Ming. Maybe even the tank hedge has already actually been taken away by Rogue Warriors, who also removed the Camille and Rakan at that. It's like, I see your Alistair ban. Talia's going to be the final ban there as well from RNG. But again, this leaves up the Aatrox. Last time it was successful, game one it wasn't, but it's still just a straight up strong pick. And Let Me will take it. Xiaohu will also take it.
And we still have to remember the Aatrox is still a flex pick between Xiaohu and Let Me. If they see a bad matchup against Holder, they could still swap out of the situation.
And Rogue Warriors, when they hover the Urgot, you're probably like, ah, yes, top lane. No, Urgot's on the team, and Doinby's on the team. So Doinby's probably going to be taking this.
And this Urgot is going to follow the Aatrox wherever he goes. Basically, this is not a good matchup for the Urgot. Sure, he can influence with the laning phase ganks. He has more CC for that. But if it's just left to their own devices, the Urgot will come out ahead.
Yeah, not a good matchup for the Aatrox in that one, in the laning phase. Ryze comes in there for Rogue Warriors. And that should be both solo lanes, but we've seen Crazy, we've also seen Mage go to the bottom lane, so we'll see. Maybe for the first time we'll see a marksman into the AD carry position. RNG though, will be locking down the early Varus for Uzi. We saw last time 3 target bans towards that position to get him an early pickup here with the Gragas into the jungle.
And the Gragas can also be for the for Ming as well. It's actually the most banned pick champion in the LPL playoffs so far. And Ming, after Asian Cups, after watching Score, has made it his main champion. The playmaking ability is what we emphasize here. And SMLZ, of course, he comes in with the Misfortune counter pick. You can trade through the minion wave against a Varus, and you deal more damage as well. So this has been a signature counter for SMLZ. Yeah,
he was the first to pick it up in the league and picked up a lot since then. A lot of people have been following suit, but SMLZ is definitely the most solid. Looking towards that early game. Olaf ban out there towards the jungle, assuming that it could be that Gragas into the bottom lane here. Again, as you said, we've already got physical evidence that it could go into the support position.
And I still want to see more crowd control out of Rogue Warriors right now. There's a very specific condition that you can fight with Misfortune. The bullet time, you have to get people grouped up together. So they're still likely looking for something like the Braum, I would guess, into their own bot side. It does counter out the Gragas. It can also set up that CC chain so that SMLZ can unleash.
I'm just wondering what's going to come in now for last pick from Rogue Warriors, because it always seems to be a little change up at the end from Rogue Warriors. Like, I so rarely see them lock in both solo lanes into their first rotation. Always never happens. Is that going to be the final ban there towards Casa?
They're very worried about the engage potential onto SMLZ. We are running triple in mobile carries. Very understandable draft right here. They are still looking for their jungler. Lee Sin is still on the board. Nocturne, like we mentioned before, is still there as well. Yeah. But I think they're going to look for something. Yeah, they're going to look for something that has more early game presence, I would say.
Yeah, Sejuani, I like the takeaway there towards Kiwi. May just end up giving him something comfortable. If you look at like the weaker links on Rogue Rise, you're probably looking at Kiwi as the one to stand out there. So give him a comfortable matchup might be the thought process here. Give him the final pick here from Rogue Rise.
And there's still a lot of picks on the table for him as well. The Kindred Graves, Jarvan could be one of them. That's the CC we were talking about. Does create that zone where SMLZ can unload. Yeah,
and you can also just lock him in with the Urgot. You can drop ship the Urgot in to the Jarvan ultimate, then lay down the bullet time.
Oh, man.
Theoretically, it's there. I actually really like the teamfight setup here from Rogue Rise, at least early into the game.
If Rogue Warriors actually get a kill in that teamfight, that's absolutely disgusting because there's a Fear AoE.
Yep.
Rise gets to pop off with the reset, with the spell flux. This is a wombo combo like you've never seen before.
Yeah. If you get that first kill, it's so important. But there's the Aurelia pickup actually on the side of RNG. Like, I was expecting to see this out from Rogue Rise now that you draft in Holder. But it's actually going to be the Aurelia on the RNG side. So can go to the top lane, can go to the mid lane, actually.
Doesn't get the easiest matchup against Rise early on, but later in team fights, it does prevent Rogue Warriors from walking in onto them. And the Braum will be the takeaway. I think this is actually a very crucial champion in this matchup.
Yeah, frankly, it just feels like they're just throwing chips onto the table. It's like, all right, Rogue Warriors, I see your composition. We're going to throw in the Vanguard's Edge as well, and a Glacial Fissure in the form of the Braum.
Yeah, the important thing is that you do get the small knockout, even if it's not on the first target that the Glacial Fissure does hit. So it is a semi-counter into the Misfortune. And Rogue Warriors actually planned for this as well. They're answering with the wave push coming in from the Morgana.
Yeah, and with the Misfortune coming in very early, I was actually a little bit shocked there was no look towards Morgana, because this is such a common pickup alongside the Misfortune, especially for Kahlua and SMLZ, where it's like, if you have one piece of CC, it's not going to go through the Black Shield, and you can just make it that much harder to interrupt the bullet time.
Yeah, definitely a solid idea right there. And Rogue Warriors are setting themselves up to play towards the bot side. That bot lane, if they wanted to, will push very, very hard. And they can still keep it safe with the Morgana pick as well. That's why they foregone the Braum pick instead, which was the pick that I would guess they would go for. Because Jarvan, like, you can leave that for the final pick.
Yeah, I like it. Try and shut out Uzi out of the game and just try and win before your comp runs out of steam. You know, you'll hit very hard when you go 1-2 items lethality build, Jarvan in the jungle. You will wipe out this relatively squishy composition coming out from RNG. They're not going to be squishy when come itemization, but hopefully the game should be done by then if you're Rogue Warriors.
You certainly have enough burst damage to put Uzi straight into execution range from Urgot.
Yeah.
From a very long range away as well.
And that should be the start of the fight coming in here. You send in the Urgot, maybe he has Flash, you get the multi-man fear, and you chase him down. Like, get that off the board. I don't want to see what happened in that last game again, where Uzi just pops off, goes and runs through an entire team. Xiaohu by his side as well. That taunt, just disgusting coming in from those two. So this time, Rogue Warriors bring in Holder, they bring in Kiwi, rookies into the top and the jungle, and they're asking for a lot from these rookie players. You've got to go against the man himself, the Mad King. I'm going to call him Mad King. You know, the Mad Dog, the Uncrowned King. Combine the two now.
But they've also got given Kiwi a good way to execute this. If he just plays towards his strong lanes, he shouldn't have a lot of trouble actually just continuing to extend the pressure coming out from the bot lane. We just saw Uzi there smiling at this matchup. They know all guns are pointing towards him. They're going for his head.
Yeah, he's grinning. He's baring his fangs right now, Uzi. 1-1 in this matchup here in Beijing. I want to hear the crowd go ballistic one more time as we get onto the Rift. Rogue Warriors, still a relatively young organization coming together at the start of spring. We call it the Revenge Tour because almost every single one of these players outside of Kahlua came in off of a bench from a team, from many slights, many revenges to be taken They took a lot of names in spring, and they did it again in summer as well. Rogue Warriors are nigh on unstoppable against their former organizations.
The best win rate in the West, and a team of misfits that were dropped from their organizations, mainly not for performance issues. So Rogue Warriors as an organization, they definitely snuck in at the correct time, picked up a lot of this good squad with such a strong focus in the team fights and the hyper carry from the bot lane.
Yeah, I will say that to SMLZ, the one time I've ever seen him crack a smile was when he took out OMG back in spring.
Let's watch the level 2 gank incoming for Karsa. This is what they do quite often.
It's going to be through lane, though. A little bit of a setup. Kahlua does spot him, does not see him. He's right up against this brush right here. Karsa jumps out of this one. Instant flash, an instant flash to follow. Everyone burns it right now, trying to get this first blood, and indeed it is secured by Gragas.
And that was such a smart early trick coming in from RNG. Every team knows that RNG is going to do the level 2 gank when they're in a losing lane, but RNG one-up them. They bring the early sweeper on Ming for the clear and guarantee that that play actually works.
I like to see it. I mean, again, we've seen this a lot from Karsa, the level 2. Doesn't really matter what the champion is on. We've seen it a lot from the Zac play. So I'm a little surprised that Rogue Warriors would step so far up in that situation. Level 1 as well on Kahlua. And this is the bottom lane. We were highlighting a potential weakness from Rogue Warriors. Didn't show in Game 1. Didn't show too much in Game 2. But in Game 3, Karsa finds the punish.
Yeah, and honestly, RNG did give it away a little bit with trading so aggressively into the level 1. Unfortunately, Rogue Warriors still held their spot. They felt like they had enough vision in the lane to go forward with the trading. Wasn't the case.
Yep. Now, we said that the Urgot would be chasing down the Aatrox. Aatrox flees to the top lane here. He's going to be facing down this Ryze. We'll now be playing into this Irelia, who the Urgot should have a relatively good matchup with this one.
Can't dodge out on the stuns, but to be honest, Irelia can't really DPS the Urgot down either. So she's going to have to play quite safe, I would say. Try to take as little damage
not
as
like
possible.
this, because it's very easy to predict whether Irelia is going to jump to a Blade Surge, which means you can set up the Q down to 0.6 seconds on activation, so you can't dodge it, and then you just follow up with Purge. And he's still going to be in melee range because there's nowhere to jump to. So you get these trades early in the game, and Irelia typically doesn't have good matchups into bruises, especially not a semi-range one like Urgot.
And it's so easy to get hit by that disdain while you're charging inside. You really have to plan 2 steps ahead with the Blade Surge to get out of that.
Yeah, it's not an impossible matchup, but it is definitely a frustrating one. Advantage in the mid lane. SMLZ getting caught out, looking for concussive blows. Good timing on the Black Shield. Dodge out from the piercing arrow as well as Ming chimes in there onto Uzi.
And you can see there's still a summoner's advantage for SMLZ in the bot side, and this is the way that he likes to play the Misfortune. He does bring the Dark Harvest, so whenever he does take down one of those cannon minions, he has a chance to get the extra damage proc.
Yeah, I like to see this one. Actually seeing it out of junglers as well. Graves the other day actually out from JD. They picked that one up into the jungle. Now the Execute has fallen down a little bit, has definitely risen in popularity. Actually seeing a Q-Max come out here from SMLZ as well. Mid lane, Fluid coming in from Xiaohu, but low on mana, so probably going to go back to base on this one.
Definitely going to have to force him to back, and Karsa has actually recovered quite well from the early level 2 gank. They traded sides in the jungler. Let's watch this gank for Holder.
Yeah, level 3, pathing towards the top side. Level 5, though, picked up from Holder, and he's low on mana, so he's probably going to go back to base anyway. He's due for one. So Karsa may look to ensure his recall, just go back to base himself. And Holder, a lot of eyes on him,
I
for
think
sure.
Karsa's going to stay. They're looking for the teleport position, but good spot for Holder. He doesn't greet it, goes all the way back to his own tower.
Teleport into the bottom lane here. From Urgot, actually. Forced him away from this tower. Also Kiwi into this bottom side. And Karsa, being in the top side of the map, won't be able to react to this one. This might be either first tower or at least a lot of damage onto this one. Ming finally gets the courage to push back up to this tower with Uzi.
If they are down 1 teleport, only Let Me has the TP.
That was a lot of damage. Down to already below half. Around the 3rd HP on that tower. Another setup, another kill. That would just be the first tower of the game.
And that was what I was talking about for how to play with Kiwi. Just make his job simple. Have him focus on one lane.
Holder getting caught by the Infernal Chains there. Lots of damage and the full combo actually out there from Let Me. And again, a lot of eyes going to be on Holder because they subbed out this guy. They subbed him in and they subbed out Mouse and Flawless essentially to get the chance to bring Holder into the top lane. To bring him into these fights and give an extra prong to the trident, essentially, that is Rogue Warriors. I mean, that's all they're looking towards. They need something else to pull out, but in this lane, it's not going well. Q3, Holder almost gets sent back to base.
And let me with the unexpected electrocute as well. You don't really see that in the matchup so far into the top lane, at least. A lot of times it is the Comet, but he's willing to go with the all-in type of combinations here. And catching him off guard.
He got the world and walks into the brush and hold. I cannot believe he would step up to that wave right there. Gets shut down. Now in the bottom lane, Cars looking for the guy. Instant exhaust coming through, and Uzi low on health, low on mana. Flash away by SMLZ.
He had to dodge that, or else he would have been stunned right in place. But in the top lane, that was one of the oldest top lane tricks in the book.
I don't even call it a trick anymore, to be honest.
If you don't see me, I'm not there.
Yeah.
Object permanence.
Object permanence. I can't believe he stepped up to that one. Must have juked into maybe the second brush and walked into it, but Holder getting caught out in the 1 versus 1 behind him farm. He will luckily catch the majority of this wave, but a kill going over to the Aatrox, winning out in this matchup, is going to be massive for RNG.
And you just didn't think that Holder would be subbed in to do Mouse's job, because he's got no ganks so far.
It's the same champion.
And the way they're playing with him is basically identical. It's basically hold your lane. We're going to go for the bot side. We're trying to take this top down first early. But if Holder falls this far behind in the early game, is it really worth the sub then?
Yeah, that's why I was shocked to see both Urgot and Rise picked up very early, and it seemed like they were trying to prioritize giving Kiwi a nice matchup for himself, set him up with the Jarvan, something he's comfortable with. But I mean, Holder, we've seen him so far flourish on the Assassins. I look towards the Aurelia, the Akali, the High Pig, something you can get involved with into the side lanes, even pre-6, looking for those teleports. But Rise, a scaler, we just saw this from Mouse. In fact, he was the hero. He was the guy with the valiant defense at the base, killing Uzi, killing off the carries. So again, you're right. If you're looking for this type of performance, sub in Mouse.
You can see Kiwi coming in.
Flip comes out. Xiaohu already low, brings out the Vanguard's head, but there is no escape from the fear beyond death.
And that was essentially a 1v1 scenario. Doinby does get the disdain early on, and Aurelia just can't get away. Saves the flash even.
Yeah, and to be honest, he was just dead in that 1v1. It didn't matter who turns up to that fight. He was still going to confirm that kill. And now they're pushing onto the tower. Activates Purge. This one's going to fall. Carson moving into the mid lane does have the ultimate to clear away the minion wave, but this might just drop regardless.
He has to be very careful about stepping up there.
Yeah, knocks Kiwi out there with the flag and drag, but with another minion wave coming in, also Carson can actually keep this one alive. Xiaohu actually not running with the teleport this game, running with the ignite, though Rogue Warriors say that's enough damage. Let's move back and try and consolidate our resources.
Let's watch that 1v1 again. Xiaohu actually goes in thinking that he has the stun, but Disdain into full purge. He didn't even get a chance to flash. He was just dead instantly. Yeah,
I'm really shocked Xiaohu would go for that in the first place with no real escape route off that play. Came in with the Sheen, he was like, I'm powerful, let's go. And jumping onto an Urgot, I mean, you almost don't have anything in that matchup. Like, you try and disarm him, he pops W. Like, he's not auto-attack anymore, but he's still doing damage.
If that was behind the melee minion wave, I could understand it.
Oh, Kahlua lands the binding, but that's a bigger binding onto the AD carry. SMLZ, he cannot move right now. Returns fire with a bullet time, and a door comes up, only to soak the damage. Kahlua gets the kill, top lane, chased down onto Holder, crawling towards his victim. 2 versus 1, and Holder will go down to Casa.
And Rogue Warriors and RNG trade sides. It's about who's going to take the tower first. It does look like Rogue Warriors have enough ammo left.
Kiwi with a flash into the Cataclysm, and it will be his. Kill onto Uzi.
There's no way that the King can outplay that. Just simple execution going in onto him. No mobility left for Uzi, and honestly, a bit of over-aggression coming in from the bot lane, taking a fight that they couldn't win.
Again, Xiaohu trying to do what he can in the mid lane, chasing onto Doinby, but it's so scary though. You get caught by a Disdain, you're probably going to go down. First tower here to Rogue Warriors, explosive action, and Kiwi also coming up clutch.
Rogue Warriors, their draft pays off. They prepared the counter, they baited out the Braum pick from RNG, they had the Morgana ready, and they also had the answer towards the Varus. They make great use of it, and Kiwi Kid, honestly, not Kiwi Kid, sorry. Kiwi.
I mean, he's a kid who is Kiwi. That's true.
Definitely been talking to Raz a bit too much, but Kiwi does his fair share.
Yes, he does. Bottom lane, though, SMLZ and Kahlua coming up trumps in that 2 versus 2. First dragon goes down to RNG, however, and then we can take a look at the setup from that top lane play we didn't quite catch.
Does look very good for Let Me early on, but of course Karsa is already on the back of that. Spends a flash to get him out of the Realm Warp. pretty easy cleanup from here on after.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else you can do with your holder. I mean, the target that you've chunked down already has Bloodwell, and you've got a Gragas wailing on you. Not going to happen. Rotation to top side now from SMLZ. Set up in the mid lane simultaneously. Joinby pushing forward. Instant exhaust, trying to line up the stun. Well played by Xiaohu. Also with the Vanguard's edge. Jumps back towards them. Flash away to tower. Flag and drag. There it is. And the bomb comes out from Karsa. It's still not enough. And Joinby will get the kill.
And that was such an amazing chase down coming in from Joinby. You could see the spell, unsealed spellbook really coming up huge right there. He flashes the stun, puts the exhaust down, and then slows him with the ultimate coming in from Urgot. And that's really what has allowed Urgot to rise in the meta, is his mobility with unsealed spellbook. You can take the exhaust, the ghost, we've seen it by Ziv, to just chase down targets, and nobody really expects that out of that pick.
And Clement, the gambit is working out here from Rogue Warriors. We saw Hola come into the line, and it's like, all right, we're looking for more combat power, specifically early for this team. In fact, it was actually in the bottom lane. It was all a ruse coming out from them. The Urgot comes in 2 games in a row from Joinby. He's ahead. Bottom lane priority going over to Rogue Warriors. They take 2 towers to 1 now, and was just returned by Let Me. Uzi, however, waiting in the brush. He's got Braum stepping up as well.
He's got Karsa as well coming in.
Late spell shield, still locking down SMLZ. He'll flash away, but the attention now onto Kahlua. Multiple teleports coming down, 3 from both sides. Karsa in the back lines, jumps straight onto SMLZ with a belly bump, takes him down. Flash forwards from Let Me, looks for the CC down onto Kahlua, but he's locked in place on the Dark Binding. Kiwi from the back side, lots of low health bars out from RNG, but they disengage.
They do expend the teleport from Lemmy to cut off the backline from Rogue Warriors. Joinby, you can see he was trying to get his purge onto the backline targets. All of that damage went onto Let Me with World Enders instead, and they end up losing that trade. That also gives a massive respite for Aurelia. Xiaohu's been having a horrid laning phase, but getting that 2 extra minion waves should help her at least get into the Triforce a bit earlier.
Yeah, to be honest, this is what Joinby also brings to the table. Yes, we've seen Urgot mid lane from another region. We've seen it in the LCK, but we haven't seen it yet in the domestic league of the LPL. It's only been Joinby. Not a lot of people know how the mid lane matchup works. Who sees Ornn come into the mid lane? Who sees Renekton? Who sees Poppy come into the mid lane? No one. And when he brings it out, there's a lot of learning on the fly coming out from these opposing mid laners.
Definitely does seem to be the case for Xiaohu. Also, Rogue Warriors not getting their Morgana pick to work out. Good hide from Uzi coming in from the brush outside of vision. Was actually a bit risky at the start of that.
Now it's just about going back into their own side, trying to lick their wounds, RNG. Not too far behind in terms of goal, but down in tower. Down in tempo because Rogue Warriors constantly making these plays. Yeah, Joinby's ghosting up. It's a fast Urgot. You don't expect it. He's going to push him off the grump here. Just
wait until he gets the Righteous Glory. It's such a powerful mid-game pick. You just can't get away from it fast enough.
Yeah, Scrump's having a bad day. He's running out of patience. So yeah, that mid-game, super strong. Coming out from the super carry. Top lane. Final outer turret down. SMLZ gets himself another tower under his belt. This is Misfortune not putting any points in E, by the way. There's been a primarily Q max and W second.
Karsa's setting up. Does see the ward. Could be going in for Holder.
That's a 2 versus 2. Make that a 2 versus 3. Doesn't find any of the skill shots. Everything goes wide. Karsa under attack, and Joinby wanted this one. Flash away from the play.
A good reaction from Holder, but unfortunately for Karsa, misses all 3 spells, and that should be the top tower.
Oh, gives him the black shield. No interrupt on Shelly coming down. And now the counter play. Kiwi in there instantly. Bullet time a little too far away. Infernal Chain's going to catch on towards Kiwi. And yeah, no one's going to be taking that round warp right there. Rogue Warriors pushing towards the top tower, already softened up by the Herald.
That was a combo that we wanted to see. Kahlua trying to go in onto Uzi. Doesn't find his mark.
Now Uzi just locking him in place, trying to escape with the Chain of Corruption right there.
I think what we're seeing right now is Rogue Warriors, if they're willing to force as-5, RNG really have to back up. They can't take the fight front to back. In fact, I think the way RNG wins is if they can get flanks from Let Me and Xiaohu. Those are the key conditions for a 5v5 for RNG. They're trying to delay the power from Rogue Warriors right now, try to get more map control under their own side so they can look for the flanks later on.
Rogue Warriors play so well from ahead. It's going to be a second tower actually in the bottom lane out from RNG. 2 total have just been in the bottom side of the map. But Rogue Warriors, with this composition and the way that they play, they play well. They play real well. And they have to be honest. This composition, it falls behind, definitely has an expiration date. You know, you're looking towards Uzi. He will rush through that team. We've seen the damage that Letme's Aatrox can do in a team fight as well. So by suppressing them, by pushing up, Rogue Warriors should be able to take this.
The tempo is still all on Rogue Warriors' side. They should try to be forcing the bot lane into the second bot lane tower. That would be a good place for them to set up. If you're in that choke point where RNG have to walk up to you, like Cataclysm and Bullet Time are just going to do such a devastating job there. And the next Drake should go over to Rogue Warriors as well. You can see them already setting up in the position.
You know, about 17 minutes into this. Dragon just about to spawn. Having to push down this ramp, very difficult for RNG. Ming's going to lead the charge here. Ghost being popped. Just trying to ward them off. It's not the most important dragon in the world, but it will be a spark, a catalyst to a fight for one of these two teams.
Karsa trying to go for a golden opportunity. Instant black shield coming out from Kahlua to dissuade it.
SMLZ is going to start this one off. Kahlua at the front, taking point.
I think Rogue Warriors should take this with confidence. Just need to be wary of flanks.
Yeah, and there's a big one coming out from Xiaohu. The full collapse coming in, but they're going to push towards this one. Vanguard's edge being used, but Kiwi's in there first. Pops the Dragon Strike into the perfect time, and the bullet time comes across as well. And Fear Beyond Death. It's going to be a kill down onto the Aurelia, and Rogue Warriors come up trumps.
That was well played by Rogue Warriors. They see the flank collapsing, and they instantly pick a side to all in on. With Morgana in the backline, there's no way that RNG can walk through Kahlua and go and help Xiaohu. So, you know, I feel like RNG, they understood their win conditions, but Rogue Warriors reacted perfectly.
I'm actually loving what I'm seeing from Kiwi. I thought he was going to be the weak part on the roster coming into this game, a rookie thrown into the deep end, honestly, of this swimming pool, but he has performed so well, jumps in at the right time, he hears the call, he's the one leading the charge and the person locking down that single target, and it's worked out every single time. I don't think I've seen a single mistake coming out from Kiwi in his execution plays.
No, not one at all. And honestly, his job is quite simple later on in the team fights. He gets his Guardian Angel maybe later in the phase, and he just jumps onto Uzi. If he dies, it doesn't even matter. He just wants to make sure the Cataclysm is there so that SMLZ can use his bullet time.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of players, a lot of marksman players from solo queue will know that one. There's just a full damage Jarvan running at their face. It's like, it's the most frustrating thing in the world, but this time the rest of Rogue Warriors are going to be behind him as well. Red buff contest and Rogue Warriors, I'm not sure if RNG really wants to go hard in the paint for this one.
Definitely not. You can see this is the typical RNG response to when they're behind. Uzi, you need more farm. Go split push.
Yeah. Get in there, go to the top lane. Holland's going to be chasing him down though, 0-2, but has been farming up since then. Just heading on to the 6,000 gold mark. Massive advantage actually over to Letme. About 1,700 gold over to him. Mid lane is going to be equal amounts to Doinby.
Ooh, SMLZ nearly caught out here.
There's the barrel, pushes forwards, SMLZ with fancy footwork.
Yep, does get the W.
Yeah, didn't even drop his strut right there. Yeah, SMLZ, a tough man to catch even on Misfortune. No dash on this champion, but still difficult to lock down. And Xiaohu called him the Summer Tiger, maybe going back to the Spring Tiger. You know, everyone was calling him a sleep back then, and we haven't seen a whole lot from him in this game. We've just seen a lot of dying. 0-3 has picked up the Triforce.
Yeah, he definitely thought that he was going to be going up against the Rise into the mid lane. Usually when you're going up against an Urgot, you pick a range matchup, so there's no chance he actually gets his full combo on you. And we can see what happened when he actually does get the Disdain into Purge. You just die in one single shot, so...
I mean, did he think it was the Urgot going into the top lane? Because Doinby just played it in the last game. Holder in the top side.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe he just should have swapped top lane. We actually saw this from RNG the other day where it was just like, all right, Xiaohu, you go top. Zatai, take the mid lane. Maybe at that point you actually look for a swap up, you know, with the players, not the champions.
Unfortunate lane assignment nonetheless.
Yep.
I don't think Aatrox has a good time against Urgot as well. Either, I should say.
Yeah, and obviously that's gone into the favor of Rogue Warriors so far in this game.
Lemmy's looking for a kill on the bot side.
Pushing forwards, Kiwi's the one taking initiative though. He locks him into the pit. Here comes the bullet time coming across, and Xiaohu's going to have to retreat through this one. Kiwi setting up. Lining up the shot, not coming out from the Fear Beyond Death, so RNG do manage to successfully disengage from this fight.
You know, the bot side holder does get the passive to run away as well. Lemmy does have the Youmuu's Ghost Blade, so there's quite a lot of chase down potential on that side lane split push there.
And SMLZ is able to step up, hit with a love tap. Doinby off to the side, just No one's getting past this Urgot. Not going to happen, Karsa. You go back towards your team.
This is a great chance for RNG to actually try and get an engage. Rogue Warriors are down a lot of ultimates. If they can find the fight here, they should be able to win.
Doinby with the interesting setup of both cleanse and heal, actually, for this next fight. Step up, clear the ward. Kiwi pushing up as well, but we'll be backing away in the end. Just trying to get some deep vision in here from Rogue Warriors, but good defense out from RNG.
Yeah, and I like Rogue Warriors backing off initially as well. They know that if they push the tower, they're most likely going to get engaged upon, and that's just not a fight that they can win. Despite how dominant they seemed in the laning phase, in the mid, and the bot, they're actually only 200 gold ahead.
All right, we're going to get some Moose vision right here. And quite a lot of vision actually coming in from RNG. Rogue Warriors complete vision over the Baron area. Can see this Rift Scuttler being taken as they all collapse towards the area.
Bit of respite for RNG. They are going to be able to control it with the Scuttle Vision. This is one of the hardest places to check against Rogue Warriors compositions. Like, if Rogue Warrior do get the map control, you're going to have to walk through a funnel to get to them. That's almost impossible.
It's tough.
Yeah, I feel like RNG, they have to send constant, just constantly have split pushers go through that area, and just to make sure that Rogue Warriors can't set up camp.
And we're stalled out a little bit. And we're looking to people who scale well, and the Rise probably quite happy with the aforementioned respite coming in because he did not have a good laning phase. But he's managed to just farm up since then, sat on 1.5 items. Doinby sprinting towards Ming, lands the slow, and he's right on top of him, looking for this disdain to follow as well. The binding doesn't quite connect, a little bit out of range there. And Doinby will back off the rest of his team.
Doesn't get any summoners either, but you can see the chase potential from Doinby. When they see RNG side lane split pushing, they're willing to go all in.
Karsa stopping them from moving towards this mid lane. Kiwi thrown in right towards Uzi. He's going to rip them apart right now as they push towards the rest of Rogue Warriors. Kalua backing away, and in comes Xiao with Great Vanguard's edge. SMLZ bites the dust. Doinby in the middle of 5 right now as Holder eventually waltzes up to the fight. But Lemmy, he's onto Kalua. He's down. Piercing arrow comes across. That's doubles coming in. Triples out from Uzi.
And Xiao has been quiet for the entire fight.
The follow through. Holder planted in place. 4 kills, 5 kills. The clean ace from RNG.
Such a little mistake from Rogue Warriors. They tried to take the short route back to defend their own tower, but they're caught in between all the flanking potential from RNG. Great start from Karsa. Yep, he had a lot of misses this game, but that wasn't one of them.
Look how well juggled the damage was. Everyone is essentially coming out of that fight with the same amount of HP on every single respective role. And with 5 members, this will be an easy Baron take. RNG wrestle back control.
And just look at that beautiful start coming in from Karsa. He finds the perfect barrel straight onto Kiwi. Kills him before he can really do anything. And just look at SMLZ and Urgot's position right there. They have nowhere to run. Bullet time even stopped by Xiaohu. 0-3-0 start. Doesn't matter. All he needs is one of those hero flanks.
And Lemmy again just finding access into the backside. No one can stop him. And this was clutch coming out onto Holder right here. They see the opportunity. He pushes up. He thinks he can do something, but Karsa kept hold of his flash through all of that. Comes in for the body slam flash.
And this is why RNG could be one of the best teams in the world, because they're so good at punishing these minute positioning mistakes. How many teams would have thought that was a bad idea? They had 4-man going through a choke straight to their mid lane tower. It was only 2 steps away, and they pay everything for it.
The only thing you could say there is that the Urgot wasn't with the rest of the team. They weren't all grouped up, but still finding that tiny misstep coming out from Kiwi, opening up an advantage. You can't even call that a misstep from Rogue Warriors. It was more the punish coming out from RNG. And they just find a way to force it open. You know, up until that point, we're saying Rogue Warriors, they have the tempo, they have the lead, they have the driver's seat. And RNG need to find something. Look at them. They swing 6,000 gold in front of their opponents.
And a lot of that is going to be on Uzi, who just picked up the triple kill. He was behind or equal with SMLZ throughout the entirety of the game, but now 2K up. We're going to see more split pushing coming out from RNG. Lemmy with the biggest gold lead over his lane opponent.
Yeah, I mean, this completely changes the game state right now for RNG. Pushing up the mid lane, pushing up the top lane, pushing into the jungle. They will be looking for this inner tower. Holder the lone defense as the side push comes in from Kiwi and Doinby, but it's not going to be a collapse into a team fight right now unless RNG misstep themselves. Really just trying to delay the inevitable, soak up as much time as possible, but RNG they're looking for this fight. Kiwi with the instant cataclysm onto Xiaohu, buys a bit of time, but Kiwi walks way too close and gives access to the Aurelia, jumps onto the holder, he's going to go down. Doinby in the backside buying time, but buying time for what? Because his top lane is dead.
And once again, RNG split the team fight
Oh,
up.
Kahlua, he's just going to drop on the backside. SMLZ and Kiwi already back at base, and Xiaohu with the chase.
There's 2 members left for Rogue Warriors. This shouldn't be a finishing push, but they're definitely going to take the inhibitor down. A masterful split up by RNG once more. That's the best thing that they do in team fights.
Bullet time still available.
Combo.
Kiwi without the Cataclysm. And with the roar of Beijing, how will Rogue Warriors come back from this? 5 members bearing down. Here it is, instant interrupt from Letme. Get back to your fountain. And Letme will not have this happen. He'll run away, and SLZ baited to his death. RNG move to match point.
And RNG, they reign supreme in the team fighting category once more. A massive flank coming into the back line. They knew that Rogue Warriors was running a wombo combo combination. They pull Jarvan and SMLZ, the Misfortune, into the back to deal with Letme. They split the front. Doinby was chasing forward. He was just looking for that 1 kill and the potential fear onto Ming. Couldn't find it, and Uzi dealt damage throughout the entirety of the team fight.
It seems like no matter what Rogue Warriors do in the early stages of the game, they just cannot get past this veteran playmaking coming in from RNG. They just find a situation and they choose, this is the time where we're going to make a play, and he takes so much off of it. That was a mid lane fight into a Baron to a fight into a finish. Straight
Look
up.
at that goal graph. It went straight down. RNG was ahead throughout most of the game. But one single mistake, and RNG take it all away.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors with that lead. It didn't look like it in terms of goal, but in terms of the pressure they had over the map. They were playing into RNG's side for the majority of it. 27 minutes, that's an acceleration from what, 23 minutes? In the space of the Baron power play, the game ends straight up. It looked so good from the bottom side of the map here from Rogue Warriors. What else can you pull out?
And game 1 was all about Rogue Warriors and their specialty picks in the Kled, in the Rakan. This game was all about RNG specialty picks. They have selected Gragas every single time. It was not banned away from them. It's a clear foundational play for them. They selected for the playmaking, and they're so good at executing out, splitting the team fights, getting the perfect angle to make sure that they can win on the front side, they can win on the back end, they take away wombo combinations from you entirely. It's just this pick does so much for their team, and that's the reason why TOP decided to take away both the Ryze and the Gragas in the later stages of that series. I wonder if Rogue Warriors have to do that as well.
Maybe, but at a certain point, there's just too much to take away, right?
That's true.
Like, you've got to look towards the jungle. You've also got to look towards taking away AD carries from Uzi, unless they're prioritizing it very early on into their draft. Then you've got the Aatrox to think about as well. Consistent pick out from Letme in the top side. There's just too many things, you know, and you've got to focus on maybe just yourself coming into that potential final game, into this 4th game, and where's that going to come from? Who are you putting all your resources into at this point?
I felt like Rogue Warriors really had a great game plan. I actually favored their draft. I really liked what they were doing with it. But like the LPL players said, it came down to execution once again. I think, to be honest, I felt like Rogue Warriors, what they were doing were fine for the most part. It was just that single misstep that cost them the entire game. They had the great trap for the bot lane where they had the double counter pick, early first tower, early rotation. Doinby was actually sitting 3 kills up on Xiaohu, and you look at that game point, you say, this is definitely going to go to Rogue Warriors. RNG might take a fall here, but that didn't happen, and that's just the team fighting prowess of RNG.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, mid lane was shut out. Xiaohu was essentially irrelevant. You look towards the bottom side, Uzi, he was like one-on-one. He was farming away, but he was also just shut out in these team fights. He couldn't even get close. If he steps close, he gets hit by a javelin in the bullet time. There's nothing you can do against that. And top side, you're looking towards the only strong parts of the map. That's specifically Karsa on this Gragas. He had a good couple barrels. He had the setup in the early game, but it was really down to him. He was the single catalyst that sparked that entire fight in the mid lane, that transition to Baron, transition to the end of the game. So it's like, where is that winning play going to come out of? First it was Uzi in that last game, this time it was Casa.
You know, everyone has a chance to carry on the RNG squad, and you can put them behind in the laning phase. They're a slow team, but when it comes to the 5v5, they are the kings of the LPL. There is no other team that is better at them than punishing these mistakes. You know, this just brings me back to Rift Rivals, where Coach Kesman was saying, if it comes down to a team fight between us and Kingzone, we're taking that fight 99%.
I mean, the evidence is just on your screen. And Casa, he'll take the MVP on the Gragas. Off of that play, straight up. Only 2 MVPs to split, plus the 1 now in from playoffs. But there's just too many carriers on this team. You know, when you're literally alongside a star-studded roster, you have Uzi in there, you have Xiaohu in the mid lane, Let Me coming into his own right. They'd even draft in Zatai. It's just like there are so many star players here, it's so difficult to get past them and make your name known. But Casa does it in this one.
Yeah, and this is his first split with the RNG squad. He came all the way for Flash Wolves, fought for that starting position, and to see him mature with the playstyle of RNG this late into their run, it's just a beautiful thing to watch. They definitely have practiced the Gragas on multiple people at the same time just to get all of the possible combinations down. And that's the scary thing about RNG. I feel like they think about the game differently than other teams. They definitely think more about how to actually execute the team fights, and that's something you don't really see in other regions. You know, in the LCS, it's front to back. They play a lot of Maokai, a lot of tanks. You just bang onto each other and see, you know, if an AD carry jumps in, you kill him. If a tank is out of position, you kill him. But not RNG. RNG's team fights are so dynamic. They split you up. They come in from different flanks, or they just use the semi-globals to their advantages as well. Like, they're absolute game changer, and there's no one even close.
They can fight people on multiple different fronts. They can fight them in just one solo team fight. Look at this collapse coming in from RNG as well. They see Rogue Warriors just trying to step forwards and just buy time, not really look for that full-on fight. But this is a fight on 3 different fronts that they all win simultaneously.
Yeah, and it's all about the crowd control. They're sizing people into different corners, preventing the wombo combo. There's no AoE ability from any member of Rogue Warriors that can hit more than one person. They're just completely spread out in the fight, and that's where the individual talent just comes into the forefront and overwhelms the enemy.
And this is overwhelming the team that typically their playstyle has been to overwhelm other teams in team fights, and that's their way in, but they're being outclassed in that. We'll see if RNG can completely shut down Rogue Warriors coming into this 4th and final game, or potential final game.
让我们把故事传唱下去，继续书写 RNG 的传说。